We learned the 4 main concepts that really made React take off. It gave developers a whole new way to think about their applications and how we built them. And it was architected in such a way that it made building large-scale applications a lot more pleasant than what we had before. Now, since then, a lot of libraries have come out that have taken some of the React concepts. Angular was rewritten to a new version that is more in line with these concepts. Libraries like Vue are also using these concepts because people have realized that these are some really good principles. So now you have things like React, Angular, Vue that developers are using to build front-end applications. But React really had this initial jump, and it's still the most popular library and the library with the most job demand because it was the first to introduce these principles. And the beauty is that although we haven't written any code, you've now learned a little bit about some of the keywords that we'll encounter throughout this course. And don't worry, you're not supposed to get them 100% just now, because all of these things are something that we need to practice, code, and build projects with to really understand them. But now when you hear the words like declarative, JSX, component, state, props, virtual DOM, you'll at least have an idea of what it is. Because we've learned that React is a declarative paradigm. That is, instead of telling our apps exactly what to do, we simply give it some state, some components that are built with something called JSX, and these components sometimes receive properties, which are called props. We give all that information a giant JavaScript object in a declarative way, which creates a virtual DOM in JavaScript, and that virtual DOM is used by the React library to update the DOM for us in a declarative way. But your question is this: how do I become the best React developer I can be? And to be a great React developer, it actually comes down to 3 things. 3 things that really good senior React developers do well. And we're going to focus on these 3 skills throughout the course. The first one is to decide on components. Really good React developers decide what is a component. How much do we want to break down a component? How do we build these reusable components as we've seen? And deciding on how to break down the app into different components is a very important skill. The next thing is to decide the state and where it lives. Now, we're going to explore this idea of state or data of our app a lot more, but this state can live in different locations in our virtual DOM. So whether we put the state here, or we put the state here, or here, or here, or in multiple locations, that decision is very important in architecting your app. And really good React developers do a really good job placing state in the appropriate component. The third is, what changes should we make when the state changes? Based on what this JavaScript object called state is changed, we have to decide what to re-render, what part of the virtual DOM changes. And deciding on this is also important because it has huge effects on performance. Now, don't worry, these are the things that we're going to really work on, but I want you to keep this as a reference. Because if you want to become a senior React developer, these are the things that you have to become really good at. Making these decisions and knowing when something is good, when something is bad. We're going to explore that and a lot more in the next section. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.